There's hundreds of ways to debone a deer. I like to get the bone out of the way, and then I just got the rest of the meat to work with. I'm done with that. Alright, so on the inside of the deer it has a little bit of bacteria. This one's nice and clean, but you get a little hair and stuff, so we're just going to trim that and get it out of our way. There's not much meat there. And then right up back in the back, there's anytime you see a triangular piece of fat, that's typically where a gland is. So we want to get rid of the glands. That's where the bad stuff is. Here's that flank that we saved. There's a small amount of meat on that we're going to save for hamburger or sausage. I go back and get rid of this gland. Okay, we're going to drop off the back hindquarter. We're going to go around the rib joint and look for the hip socket, nip that out, follow the hip joint around, and we'll get all the meat out of it right away. Alright, from the hindquarter, we'll trim this up real quick. And here's where we can get our steaks from, boneless steaks, and our boneless roast from. We have the top round, bottom round, and the sirloin tip. There's hundreds of ways to debone a deer. I like to get the bone out of the way, and then I just got the rest of the meat to work with. I'm going to start basically from the top and work my way down. I'm getting the shank meat off, I'm getting the rump off of it, I'm getting all three primal cuts basically off the bone at one time. I'm just kind of using the tip of my knife so I can walk around the bone, if you will, and if I cut all the way through to the table, then I'm wrecking some of the primal cuts. But now I got the bone, there's not much meat on there. Done with that. Here's where the bone laid, and you start where the bone was. You kind of pull it out just a little bit, nip some of the tougher stuff. And you can almost kind of see where this here is there, this is there, and it'll all come into play once you get a little bit closer to it. But it basically kind of pulls out. You gotta use your knife, obviously. But this here is the sirloin tip roast. You can just clean it up a little bit, get any blood or dirt off of it, square it up. Nicknamed it the football roast for some of our novice rappers. Then we're gonna swing it around, and the same thing. You kind of peel it. There's a big artery in there. There's another piece of triangle fat. We'll get rid of that later. There's another lymph node in the back. This one here is called the top round. We're going to trim that up real good and make it nice and clean. Now this here piece of meat we could use as a steak. We could use it as a roast. We could cut it up for steaks. We could use it for whole muscle jerky. This is a nice lean piece of meat. If you like your steaks about 1 inch, we'll go ahead and cut those. That makes a nice steak, super lean. Season it up and cook it to your likings. So here's the very last part of the round. It's called the rump. And here again, you can kind of see where the seams are. You see where that sirloin tip was. They usually have either a big artery or some type of silver skin. This is where it was actually attached to the leg. We'll get rid of that heavy silver skin. We're going to take this here, and this is the shank meat. We'll go through that later on for hamburger. And here's one of the large arteries in the back. And here's that triangle piece of fat again with a lymph node in it. I'm going to make sure we get those out of there. And you get down to the nitty gritty, this would be the bottom flat, and this here little piece there would be the eye of the round. It's kind of the same deal. We're going to trim it up real good. And then this here would be a same deal. Versatile piece of meat for roast, jerky, or steaks.
Hey everybody, today's the day. Mathews is unveiling their brand new bow for 2022. I've got one in my hands and let's take a look at it. It is the V3X from Mathews. If you look at it, looks a little bit different than the V3 with some cool new integrated features. Okay, the V3X, you know the V3 came out this year, this calendar year. This is for 2022. It's got a new integrated sight system and quiver system, and the new color, which I kind of like, it comes in like 7 different finishes. This is called granite. I really like that. I've been shooting the ambush green the last couple years. This one is very good looking, but this bow, built for speed, 2 different versions of it. I have the 29-inch version. It also comes in a 33-inch version, and the difference is in both of the new models is some of these new features that they have built in there. Now, I've said this for years, you know, I don't know how far you can take compound bows. Matt McPherson and the Mathews engineers, they've built these bows for several years now, that if you're shooting a Mathews bow, the details are pretty subtle, but if you haven't been shooting one, you're gonna notice it's Cadillac of compound bows. Okay, the V3X. The first thing that I look at that I see that is brand new is this new sight system. It's called the Bridge Lock Technology System. It's an integrated sight. So if you're familiar with the V3s and even the VXR before it, they integrated that Ultra Rest from Quality Archery Designs is integrated into the riser. Now this sight is integrated into the riser as well. I put that in this weekend. And I tell you what, it's super solid, and the reason why is there's a set screw in there with a brass end. And when you screw that in, this sight is rock solid into the riser. I like that. There's not going to be any vibration from the sight. I know that already. I've shot a couple shots through it already, and I know that. The second thing that I see is there's 2 new low-profile quivers that they have for this bow. There's a detachable one that's a little bit longer. We'll show you that. I put on the one that's fixed, and it's 2 pieces. And if you look at that, it's super tight and compact to the riser. They did this to help streamline the bow, number 1, and number 2, to reduce more vibration. I don't know how, honestly, you can reduce vibration from these bows because they are so quiet to begin with, but this is rock solid on there. There's 2 points of contact. My arrows stay in there. Even these little FMJs, perfectly solid. They're not falling out of there. Very, very nice. The other thing that comes with this bow is a field repair kit, which is pretty cool. It's a small little kit that you can replace your strings and your cables in the field without a bow press. That's very nice for you do-it-yourself guys that are especially out hunting out west, or you're on a trip and you can't make it to a bow shop if you have an emergency fix. Okay, so a little bit about the sight before I take a shot. Mathews partnered with Axle on this sight, and the nice thing with this sight, it's micro adjustable both ways. So both windage and elevation, and it's just basically got these little, you got these little flip open wing screws that you can open that up and then adjust up or down in fractions of an inch if you want. It really helps dial in your bow once you get on the target. All right, so you're gonna get the first look at this. See how this sounds, the new V3X for 2022. Here we go. It feels really good. It's very, very smooth. And I dialed this all the way down. Now, when we look at the draw weights, they start at 60 and they go all the way up to 75. And also, I'll tell you a little bit about the draw lengths. We'll put some of that information in the video, but it's super adjustable. If you have a long draw, if you like to draw a lot of weight, I don't. I'm all the way down as far as this will go, but it's smooth as butter. It's a very solid back wall, and it just feels right in the grip there. Man, it's a couple shots out of that. Mathews has done it again, I think, but again, let's shoot some more this fall, and I'll give you another report coming up.